Hi, I'd like to explain the deadline summary to you. Uh, you can ignore the dates, the specific dates that you see here in this example, and you can also not worry, be concerned about the number of weeks in the semester because I do have different courses, online courses, and some are 10 weeks long, some are 13 weeks long, some are 15 weeks long. So you can ignore both disregard both the weeks in the semester and also the specific dates that you see posted here. What I want you to do is to get an understanding, a comprehension of how the summary is provided here. The first thing I want you to look at is the orientation test. The orientation test is required of everyone. Every student must take the orientation test. The orientation test serves a couple of purposes here. One, as you see here, there is a deadline. There's a deadline in which you must take this orientation test. It serves a purpose for attendance. By state law, every college, university must take an attendance. And since this is online class, of course, we're not meeting in a regular classroom on a regular basis, so I can call the roll. So I do it my way. Every professor has their own unique way of taking the required attendance. What I created was the orientation test for the students. You must take the orientation test by a certain deadline, and I do give you, as you can kind of see here, a block of time, several weeks, perhaps 2 to 3 weeks to take the test, so you have plenty of time at your own convenience to take this orientation test. If you do not take the orientation test, as you see here, you will be excluded from the program. If you do not submit it, you'll be excluded from this class. So you don't want to get caught in that. And the test, as I say, serves, and the test serves another purpose too. It also gives you a chance to see how tests are submitted, how they're opened, they're submitted, how you take the test in this online class. So make sure you do submit this orientation test. Every student must take this test and submit it. If you do not take this test, you will be within the deadline given, then you will be eliminated from this class, excluded from the class, and of course you don't want to do that. So you don't want to procrastinate in submitting this orientation test because it could result in you being excluded. The next category I want to talk about is the student introduction. The student introduction or student bio is actually a bonus program, bonus project. You can submit that for additional points. Be very careful. The most common mistake that students make on this is not reading directions completely. And I do provide in one of the modules, the module that gives you the listings and the type of bonus projects that you can submit. The student introductions. I give you about a month, approximately a month, to submit this project. So you have plenty of time. You truly have plenty of time to submit it as such. But you don't want to procrastinate on this one either, because if you do, you may miss the deadline and you'll be locked out after the deadline expires. You will not be allowed to submit this at a later date, no matter what. So or submit the student introductions to student bio and earn extra credit. Again, don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. The next category is the 5 introductory health projects. Every student must take this. Must submit these projects. It's a requirement. It's a requirement, and the value is equal to a test. So these are important set of tests, or set of projects rather. I do have in the proper module, I think module number 4, it gives you all the details about the 5 introductory health projects, and it also there's some video instructions. I also created some video that's there in that module number 4 to help you understand how to take or how to submit the projects. They're not complicated, they're not overwhelming, but it does require a little bit of time, so you don't want to miss out on submitting them properly and correctly. Bring to your attention on the 5 introductory health projects. There's an initial due date in which you can earn the maximum points for this project if you submit them within the due date and they're correct. But you also see you can submit these 5 introductory projects at a later date. But if you submit them later and later than the due date, there'll be a penalty, a severe penalty of 20 points, and that is a very severe penalty. You don't want to really do that. So don't submit these 5 introductory health projects after the initial due date, because it's going to greatly affect your grade. 20 points is a severe penalty when it gets down to the final semester grade. So make sure you keep track of the due date, and you submit these projects when they are actually due. And once again, you don't want to procrastinate. If you do in this one, although you can submit the projects late, but it's going to be a costly submission, so you don't want to do that. The next segment I want to discuss with you are the SLO test and the bonus health projects. In this case, these are actually, the SLO test is a bonus project, and of course the bonus health project is also for extra credit. The SLO test, you can earn 5 extra points for submitting this test. It's a very simple test. Matter of fact, when you log into the test, open it up, you'll see that actually I provided the answers, or I provided the page number in the textbook where you can go and find the answer for each question. There's only, I believe, 4 questions for this. Very simple questions, and you can actually, as I said, find the answers in the question itself or the page number where you can go and find the correct answer. By the way, let me go back up here to the orientation test. The orientation test, although it's a required test for everyone to take and submit, it is counted as bonus points. So by submitting the orientation test, you actually earn bonus points. The orientation test is very simple, really. I think there's 5 questions, I believe there are, and they're questions that relate back to the modules that you should have already read, reviewed, and understood. So the orientation test gives you a chance to make sure you understand the modules of this program as such. But again, the orientation test is for earning extra credit, 5 points for submitting this test. Although it's required, you can earn extra credit, bonus points as such. Back down here to the SLO test and the bonus health project. Again, the SLO test, as I said, is a bonus project. You can earn 5 extra points, and it's well worth taking it and submitting it. The bonus health project, this is where you have a choice of about 10, I believe it's 10 projects you can choose from. You only select one. And keep in mind, the SLO test is a separate project in which you can submit. The bonus health project is a separate project in which you can submit, and in this case you have a choice of choosing one of 10 projects that I have listed. Make sure you do look at the list of projects to make sure you select the correct and submit the correct one, meaning that I have several classes and I have different projects for each class. So in the textbook, all the projects may be there provided, but make sure you only choose and submit a project that is applicable to your class. Okay, again, there's a deadline. There's a deadline for submitting the SLO test and the bonus health project, so you don't want to delay, and again, you don't want to procrastinate on that either. The last category is the health quizzes. As you can see, there's 2 sets. There's actually 2 sets, Unit 1, Unit 2, not necessarily Unit 1 as in the textbook, but the first unit of quizzes. There's a block of time in which you may take these 4 quizzes. There's 4 quizzes here, 1 quiz for each chapter, so there's 4 chapters that you will cover, read, and then take a test on each of the 4 chapters. And you do have a block of time in which you can submit these 4 quizzes. But make sure you do submit them within the block of time, because again, I will not accept any quizzes that are submitted late. So make sure you look at the appropriate, and I believe it's module number 3, to see what are the chapters and the page numbers that you'll be tested in this first unit of quizzes. And as you can see, there's also a second unit of quizzes here. That you'll take the second half of the semester basically. And again, there's 4 quizzes, there's 4 chapters. You discuss or you read, understand the 4 chapters, and there's a test for each and every chapter there. Again, it's a second unit of quizzes. It doesn't mean this is a second unit in the textbook. It just means that this is a second set of quizzes that you must take within a block of time. And again, I will not accept any late submissions. When the due date expires, and you cannot submit any test after that due date. So again, make sure you keep track of the summary. And matter of fact, you can print out a copy of the deadline summary right above where you see this summary graphics. There's a place where you can click and print out a PDF copy of the summary, and post it right next to your computer or someplace and have it as a handy reference. Again, you don't want to procrastinate on the quizzes either, because again, if you procrastinate, you may miss the deadline and will not be allowed to submit the test after the deadline has expired.